Okay, great. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to explain to you, first of all, why your brain may be creating emotional reactions and responses when you're working to transition your voice, and why these things come up, where they may have come from. I'm also going to explain what you might not realize that you're doing, which actually is making it worse, which is not helping you. And then I'm going to show you how you can actually overcome these mental roadblocks. I'm going to do you a lovely hypnotherapy relaxation session where we can start to change those old patterns, those old habits and emotions so that you can feel amazing about your voice rather than the old patterns and habits that you've been feeling. So, what I want you to do to begin, if you're happy to dive in, and you'll be really, really helping me by doing this, is let me know what unhelpful emotions have you felt about your voice. So go ahead, write in the chat box, what emotions have you felt about your voice that have been getting in your way? For example, fear, anger for some, tension, embarrassment, stress, a lack of safety, resistance, sadness in some cases. And I'm just going to write these down because I'm going to use these in our session so that I can make this as applicable to you as possible. And this is where I need to be able to write really, really fast. Yeah, so embarrassment, anxiety, lack of confidence, frustration, feeling fear that I sound male, overwhelmed, anger at myself, embarrassment, sinking stomach sometimes, overcoming the idea that my voice is femme to others but not to me. That's so insightful. Yeah, lots of anxiety, awkwardness, cringe, lack of confidence, embarrassment. And in fact, I'm actually knowing what I know now about the subconscious mind. I'm taking these in, but I'm not going to read any more out because the more we reinforce the unhelpful words, the more that the more that strengthens the neural pathways in our brain that we don't want. So, what I want you to do now is to set an antithesis to that and actually write in the chat box what emotions do you want to feel instead now. So, rather than perfectionism, glee, yeah, Lily, beautiful, elegant, you want to feel elegant, excitement. Yes, you want to feel light, calm, confidence, freedom. You want to feel joy, brave and confident, you're peaceful and relaxed, adept. I love this. Consistency, euphoria, excited, femininity, confident, proud, precise, harmonic. You want to feel powerful. Yeah, definitely euphoria. Yeah, exactly. I think the last one is precious. Is that right? Um, yeah, just femme at home with my body and my with the voice. Yeah, just want to feel okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, female. So I'm not going to refer to any gender in the hypnosis session we'll do because I just in case people who are watching, whatever gender, I want to make it as applicable to everyone as possible. But if I say anything that you it's we tend to subconsciously fill in the blanks. So if I say to you a general feeling, you'll subconsciously automatically fill in the blank of this is how I want to feel. So yeah, you want to feel aligned with your female presence. Yeah, exactly. Okay, this is great. This thank you because that's giving me so much information about how I can help you, really. So, when I'm going to explain to you now what happens and why your brain tends to create these emotional reactions and responses when you're working to transition your voice. So the first thing is your subconscious, even though it seems like it's not helping, your subconscious mind is trying to help you by keeping you stuck in the old beliefs because it thinks that's best for you because of those beliefs and blueprints that you gained, usually before the age of 7, or from a particularly traumatic event, if you've ever experienced something that was shocking. In both cases, the neurological pathways in the brain that can form a belief. So, for example, a client of mine, I don't share things with when I work with people because it's confidential, but I have her permission to share with you this. So, this particular client went back in a hypnosis session and they had no idea that this was the reason. But at the age of 3 years old, My client had been told by a sibling, oh, shut up, you sound stupid. And that's where all of her beliefs had started from, that had sowed the seed in her mind. And so everything then coming afterwards had become a neurological pathway in her brain that backed up this belief about herself, even though it wasn't true. So quite often with what we're doing in this lovely work is basically taking away those old beliefs so that you can come back to the truth of who you really are on the inside. Because when you're born, you're not born with the baggage, that stuff happens through life. If any of this makes no sense, please, please, please ask in the chat box and I will explain in more detail, because I'm conscious that I'm talking quite fast because there's so much I want to give, so much I want to include in this. So that's how the brain works. Something happens, an idea happens, a neurological pathway forms in the brain, neurons literally stick together and create what starts as a dirt track. And then over time, this gets expanded into a 6-lane highway, 6-lane motorway, by us looking for evidence to back up the belief about ourselves, but it's a belief, not necessarily a reality. And that's how the brain develops these neural pathways. So you're born like I don't know, a beautiful diamond. Is absolutely pure, it's amazing. And then when life happens, these beliefs, these things like dirt being caked onto the diamond, all these belief systems that were never yours in the first place get stuck on. And what we're doing with this work that I'm going to show you is we're actually taking them off. We're stripping them away so that we can actually reveal the beauty of what's underneath. Good. So another reason that your brain gets these emotional reactions, or might do for you, is different for everyone. But for many people, historically, we used to survive by being in a tribe. So 250,000 years ago, when we were hanging out in caves or hunter-gathering, doing our thing, we survived by being in a tribe. If we'd left the tribe, we'd be going it alone. We'd probably get chased through the jungle by a saber-toothed tiger and eaten for lunch. So when you stand up in front of your tribe and you sing or you speak your truth, your subconscious mind still believes that you're going to get kicked out and chased through the jungle and get eaten for lunch by a saber-toothed tiger. You consciously know this is not going to happen, but your subconscious mind still has that fight-flight response quite frequently when speaking in front of people, or singing in some cases. So what we're going to do is actually get your subconscious mind on board with the fact that you are safe to share your voice. You know, these days, even if your tribe didn't like what you had to say, you could still go down to the grocery store and pick up a sandwich. You know, you're not going to not survive. You will survive. So that's another reason why the brain thinks it's helping by stopping you from doing these things, by stopping you from unlocking and working with your voice. Another reason that I got really interested in using hypnotherapy to help people with their voices is because your voice is personal. The way we feel is released from our body into the world from our voice. When we speak or sing, it's what's inside us that we're letting out of us through our voice. So when we want to cry, our voice responds. If we drop something on our foot, there's an instinct to release sound. So if there's a mental or emotional block, for example, I personally, as a child, I learned very early on not to show emotion because I grew up with a mentally unwell parent. And I learned that sharing my voice would result in consequences. And that created a belief in my mind that served me then, but it doesn't serve me now. So I had to let go of that belief. But I learned now that I can share my voice and it's okay to feel good doing so. But I had to relearn that. I don't know if this is resonating with you or not. So let me know if this is making sense. Another thing, of course, is that your identity is linked in many ways with your sound. How you feel about yourself is linked with your voice. So if you have an identity belief, such as, oh, I'm not worthy. Good, it's making sense. Thank you. Yeah. For example, I'm not worthy of being heard, or I'm not good enough. If there's a belief that is, I'm just not someone who shares my voice. I'm not someone who does that. Or I do have a voice and I want to share it, but I'm just someone who isn't comfortable in my skin yet. Then those beliefs, those identity beliefs, can really influence how your brain allows your muscles to work. because every single cell in your body is eavesdropping on your thoughts. How you think influences your posture, how you breathe, your heart rate, your stress levels, and many, many things.
Can you say
Great.
that again about the, sorry, don't mean to interrupt you,
No, go for
about
it.
the cells in your body and your thoughts? What was that?
Oh, yeah. It's a quote by Deepak Chopra. Maybe not word for word, but it goes, every cell in your body is eavesdropping on your thoughts.
That's
And
super
actually,
impactful. I haven't heard it said that way before. It makes sense though. It really aligns with how you mentioned your identity beliefs influence what your brain allows your muscles to do. So
yeah,
like
exactly.
experiencing, like if you don't feel comfortable using your voice or you're experiencing anxiety around it, then it kind of locks down the muscles and it physically
Yeah.
stops you from being able to
Yeah.
even achieve things that you're able to do on your own.
Yeah,
Sorry for the
exactly.
interruption.
No, please. I love it. I love bouncing off. Yeah, please, please do. Yeah, it's fascinating how the body responds to our thoughts. And actually, it actually makes complete sense that our body is listening to our brain, and your subconscious mind, where you hold all of your memories, your beliefs, your habits, your autonomic nervous system responses, all of those things, that is the 90% of your brain which isn't controlled by willpower. And so I'm going to talk about willpower in a moment. But these are all in knee-jerk responses. They're all things that happen, your heart rate, your stress responses, all of this is in the subconscious. So it's amazing how your thoughts have an enormous impact on that. Having said that, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute. Saying affirmations on their own is really lovely, but that's very much on a conscious level. Whereas when you go into a deeply relaxed state, your brain is more open to those affirmations that you say. So saying the suggestions, saying the affirmations that we'll talk about in a moment, when you're actually in a deeply relaxed state, has way more power to get into your mind. But we'll talk about that in a moment.